Hallo und herzlich willkommen zum Webinar mit Pamela von Bertelsmann und Quentin von McKinsey. Schön, dass Sie heute Abend mit dabei seid. Ich möchte auch gar nicht lange reden, nur ein paar Worte zum Ablauf. Die Präsentation wird circa eine Stunde dauern. Hängt auch ganz davon ab, wie viele Fragen ihr noch an die beiden habt. Außerdem wird das Webinar auf Englisch stattfinden. Trotzdem könnt ihr eure Fragen im Chatfenster an der Seite aber auch auf Deutsch stellen. Genau, zwischendurch versuchen die beiden möglichst viele eurer Fragen schon zu beantworten. Wenn nicht genug Zeit ist, bleibt dafür aber auch am Ende noch ein bisschen Zeit. Und in der Mitte des Vortrags werden wir auch eine kurze Kurzumfrage einblenden, über die ihr dann quasi anklicken könnt, ob ihr soweit alles verstanden habt, ob ihr gut mitkommt oder ob die beiden nochmal irgendwas ein bisschen besser erklären sollen. Das könnt ihr dann auch nochmal in der Fragenbox an der Seite spezifizieren. Außerdem wird das Webinar aufgezeichnet, heißt, ihr könnt es euch im Nachgang auch nochmal anschauen. Den Link dazu schicken wir euch in der Follow-up-Mail dann zu. Außerdem in der Follow-up-Mail die Kontaktadresse für weitere Fragen und natürlich den Link, worüber ihr euch dann für den Wettbewerb Digital Shapers anmelden könnt. Genau, dann war es das auch erstmal von mir. Ich schalte mich nur dazu, wenn es Probleme gibt oder irgendwelche Fragen übersehen werden. Dann übergebe ich jetzt an die beiden, wünsche einen guten Austausch, viele interessante Informationen und viel Spaß beim Webinar.
Cool. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. Again, let me just quickly introduce myself. My name is Pam. I work for Bertelsmann in employer branding and talent acquisition. Quentin, maybe you want to also say a couple?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining tonight. My name is Quentin. I work for the McKinsey office here in Germany, and I'm basically part of the recruiting team since 3 years now, and I'm organizing the Digital Shapers event now for the second time. So I'm looking forward to talking to you today.
Cool. Then let's get started. I have a lot of fun with technical things, so I want to make sure, okay, I see that you guys see my screen, so all my embarrassing things need to go away, and I'm going to make this full screen. It looks like we're in business. Yes, cool. So why are we talking to you guys today? Because we want to tell you about this competition called Digital Shapers. And we have kind of 3 priorities in this call today. We're first going to tell you what the heck is this challenge, kind of on a more grander scale, what you can expect from it, why it's cool. Then we're going to tell you about how you apply and get selected for this challenge. And then finally, we're going to also tell you who should apply for this challenge. And I'm going to give you a spoiler alert already. You should apply for this challenge, but there's different kind of roles that you can take on. And so we're going to go a little bit more into that, where you might be able to show off your skills the best way possible. So again, just to let you know, the first part is going to be about what is this? Second part, how are you going to get in on this? And the third one is, what kind of role do you want to take on during that? As Lucia said, feel free to drop some questions into the chat. We think this is a really innovative format. So on one hand, that's great. On the other hand, maybe there's some questions that you have that we didn't explain so well. Quentin and I are both doing this now for 2 years. So for us, we think it's awesome, and we also understand it, but maybe you don't. And if you're not sure, probably someone else doesn't know either. So please throw it into the chat. That'll help us all kind of have a better understanding at the end. Cool. So what the heck is Digital Shapers? Write digital history. Digital Shapers is essentially your chance. It's your chance to be creative. It's your chance to show what you can do in a digital field. It's also a really cool place to work with different people, work in teams, work together in person, also work remotely together, and show what you got, both to your team members, to the other peers that you're going to be working with, but also, to some pretty cool companies with some pretty important people from those companies there at the finale when you're presenting your results. Oh, and it's also your chance for you to win some prize money, just to make this a little bit more interesting for you. So when I say some interesting companies, oh my gosh, it's McKinsey and Bertelsmann too. It's actually 6 different partner companies: Airbus, Event Team, Bertelsmann, McKinsey, TUI, and also some media partners like NTV, T3N, to make sure that when you're up there on that stage, people know that you're up there on that stage. Essentially, each one of these companies creates a challenge, because at the end of the day, Digital Shapers is a case study competition. I'm not sure how many of you have done case study competitions in the past, but a lot of them, at least ones that Bertelsmann produces, generally happen all in one day, or maybe 1 or 2 days, but kind of you show up, you get started, you work hard, you show what you got, you party, and you go home. Now, this concept is very similar to Digital Shapers. We just space it out, because while these normal case study competitions are great, we're all kind of aware that there's only so much you can do in one day. And Digital Shapers really takes that up to the next level, that it's not just a show and tell kind of thing. It's really something where you get to invest a lot of time and work and passion from your side, and not just give an idea at the end, but give a minimal viable product, or maybe even a demo version of something that you've developed, and not just something that's a fantasy, something that's actually there and people can play with. To do that, we need more time. So it actually spans 3 months, and that's why there's a lot of remote work. There's also a couple weekends where you're coming together and working in person with your team at an offsite location hosted by one of our partners. And the challenges that you're going to work on, you're going to be actually put off to a very specific team. So you might have be put into the Airbus team, you might be put into the Bertelsmann team. And if you were on the team last year in 2018, we actually had a case study from our music company, BMG, where they wanted the group to use data to better inform artists how they can make more money. And what the team did is they went through a ton of online data, like social media, Spotify, also some revenue streams from BMG. And they took a look at, where are people popular? Where are songs being streamed? Where is there a lot of activity on social media? Maybe an artist should do more concerts there. You know, maybe they can discover some fan bases that they hadn't been aware of before, and as such, both you know, support their fan base, but also make a little bit more money by having these live events, and also expanding their fan base by having much more interaction with their fans. Now, I don't want to brag, but I do, and this group did such a great job that they actually won. So Bertelsmann is really excited to get back into Digital Shapers because we have a title to defend. That's also why I'm trying to get you guys to come to Digital Shapers, because I know eFellows really has fantastic, smart people. So if you guys apply to the program and you end up in my group, I have a better chance of winning, and so do you. So that's just kind of an idea about the challenge. Essentially, they were supported the whole time with mentors from our music company, BMG, as well as consultants from McKinsey to make sure that they were on track, that they were really coming up with interesting solutions that weren't just technical solutions, but also good business models that would truly bring value to the company afterwards. So that's just kind of giving you an idea of one of the challenges that you might have. Of course, Airbus has completely other challenges, and TUI has also different challenges. And that's what we think is exciting about Digital Shapers, is you get to kind of shop around different industries and learn what their big pain points are without actually having to work for them. And also potentially winning a bunch of prize money at the end of it. So if this sounds good to you, I want to just say really briefly with Bertelsmann, kind of who we are. And Quentin and I are here because we're both of our companies are part of the e-fellows network. We're both partner companies there. But of course, the other companies are also just as interested to get to know you guys. They're also really happy that we're doing this webinar, but we thought that having 6 partners on a webinar was maybe a little too much. So with Bertelsmann, just to give you a quick idea, we have an overview of about 8 different divisions. We're in television with RTL Group. We're in book publishing with Penguin Random House. Gruner & Jahr is our magazine company. BMG is our music company. Arvato and Bertelsmann Printing Group are in the services business. Bertelsmann Education Group is online education like Udacity. And Bertelsmann Investments does exactly what you think they do. They invest in things. They're kind of a corporate venture capital fund. For this year's Digital Shapers, Bertelsmann will be having a case study from RTL, and it will be looking into the future of streaming services and how we can even be more customer-centric in that sense. So that's a little bit about Bertelsmann. Quentin can tell us a little bit about McKinsey.
Sure, thank you, Pam. So for those of you who don't know McKinsey, just to give you a quick overview in a nutshell. So we're basically one of the world's leading top management consultancies. So what we do in general is, of course, consult companies in all topics that are strategically relevant and across all industries, all functions. So for example, we will have some companies in the operations field, but also marketing, sales, finance, organizational topics. So everything that actually matters in a company, we as McKinsey try to consult those companies and help them actually find business solutions. So this is why we're actually also in this part of coaching and mentoring in the Digital Shapers format, which is probably the reason why Bertelsmann won last year, because McKinsey didn't have its own team. So we're basically...
Or they helped us very much, and that's why we won.
Exactly. So we're basically in the background coaching and mentoring, and we'll always be there during the event. So that's about McKinsey. Exactly. So if we'd actually like to make a quick poll. So if Lucia might be able to shoot this through. We just want to know from you if this was if you've understood what it's actually about. So just feel free to do a poll, and then we'll see if we need to deep dive again.
Okay, Pam, ich glaube, du musst ganz kurz dein Bildschirm ausmachen, weil mir hier noch angezeigt wird, dass dein Bildschirm übertragen wird. Ich hoffe, dass die Kurzumfrage dann gelesen werden kann.
Ich sag mir tatsächlich Bescheid, dass ich keine Übertragung gerade.
Okay,
aber ihr seht immer noch die Slides.
Okay, dann mache ich mich einfach mal kurz zum Organisator und Moderator und versuche es dann nochmal kurz. So. Ah ja, doch, aber es wurde hier schon, hat funktioniert. Okay, 89% haben schon teilgenommen, sehe ich gerade. So.
So it looks like everybody, or most people understood it. Please, for those of you who didn't understand a point, write your question into the chat. There's a very good chance that if you have that question, someone else will. We'll keep moving on in the presentation, but we'll then take a look at the chat and address that question. Sound good?
Genau, super.
So back, the slides are back?
To the presentation then. So let's then jump into the details and actually see how you can get there and how you can become a digital shaper. So what we'll show you is that basically the whole Digital Shapers event can be split into 3 different steps or 3 different parts. So the first step is the application step, where you will be actually applying, or hopefully, and be doing a selection day. And through these application step and selection step, we will actually choose around 30 people who will be joining the finalist team. So you will be working as a finalist on the challenges. As a finalist, then in step 2, actually the real fun begins. So you will be working on a challenge from the partner company, and this will last for around 3 months. So as Pam mentioned, it's not only 1 or 2 days, but you will really have 12 weeks where you will get coached, mentored by us to actually work on a challenge. And this will actually all lead to step 3, which is the last step and the biggest one. You will actually be able to present your results in front of a really cool jury. So last year we had some C-level members of our companies, but we also had some digital executives, so really people who are close to the digital decisions in the company. So this is a really great opportunity for you to show off your skills. Exactly, and Pam will actually show you what you can become.
So we kind of went with the motto, where's there? There is 10,000 euro. The winning team gets a giant check, which is cool because nobody uses checks anymore. So first of all, just that is fun. But also the sum on that check is pretty cool, 10,000 euro. It's yours. You split it in your team. There you can see the winning team. Again, can I mention that it was the Bertelsmann team? And I guess here also I just want to make a point that on one hand, 10,000 euro is sweet. It is, there's no question about it. That's some good stuff right now. But I also want to point out a couple people in the group. So there's Aaron, completely on the left side, who's holding the check. The 10,000 euro wasn't the end for him. He first of all, he was one of the coders, one of the developers for the app that they made at the end, and it was so impressive what he did that he actually had a meeting with our CTO at BMG to kind of discuss it afterwards. And while they ended up not using that exact app because just it didn't conform exactly with their system, I know that that was also something that really helped kind of bring this to the forefront and to show them just really what was possible. So he made a really positive business impact in that sense. And then he actually applied for another thing with Bertelsmann, the Talent Meets Bertelsmann case study competition we do annually. He not only got in, I mean, obviously he's great, but then he proceeded to again be in a winning team. And he won the prize to go to Los Angeles for a couple days with us there. So it was really cool for us to kind of have that continued interaction with him. Now, we haven't been able to recruit him yet, but it's okay. Now that we know him so well and he knows us so well, we're really waiting for the right opportunity where it makes sense for him. And he's actually accepted a pretty cool job somewhere else to get started. And we think that's absolutely wonderful, but we're still in touch. And for Bertelsmann, that's a success story. And then there's Estelle, who's also holding the check. They all got a piece of that. And Estelle wowed the judges. She was kind of the business visionary of the group. And she actually won a special prize, which was being, this is one of the roles, a business visionary. And she actually won the audience pick of being the best visionary in the entire program. And as such, she got awarded a mentor from one of the companies who just happened to be McKinsey. And it just so happened to be I don't know the McKinsey speak for this, but like the managing partner of everything in Europe. So essentially the CEO of McKinsey. Quentin, correct me as I make up things. And at the end of the day, that must have worked out very well because she started at McKinsey. And I think that also kind of shows, you know, there's a lot of different things that we personally consider a success story at Digital Shapers. Some of them are very traditional, like, sweet, we recruited this person. Other ones are, hey, he, you know, went to another event of ours. I think everyone has a different, unique story, and that's also why we like Digital Shapers, is it really gives us the chance to get to know you, and it takes the pressure off of a direct recruiting and really seeing where do you fit in, what do you really want, what can we offer, and sometimes that's something tomorrow, and sometimes that's a couple years from there. So yeah, that's where there is. And of course, as the slide says, lifetime bragging rights. You definitely win that as well. So I want to talk to you a little bit about how to get into the program and a little bit of what the path there looks like. So you guys are doing the first step, which is you know, informing yourself about the program, deciding if this is even something you're interested in. Well done. And after this webinar, you have until October 28th to apply. You apply on our website. We'll go into a little bit more about who should apply, how, what that all means, but go to our website and apply by October 28th. Then we need some time to take a look at all the applications because we're going to have to narrow it down to about 90 candidates, which was pretty tough last year because I forget how many we got, but I want to say over 600. So that definitely was a team effort of narrowing it down. And it was not easy. So around December 20th, you'll find out if you've been invited to the selection process in January, or if we don't want to pursue your application further. Then you get to chill, enjoy the Christmas holidays, New Year's, you do you, and come back completely fully tanked for one of the selection days. We're going to offer about 3. We're still coming down with the final number, and you would participate in one of those selection days. They'll be in different locations within Germany to make it a little bit easier for you to get there. During the selection day, I'll get into that or actually Quentin will get into that on the next slide. But then by the end of January, you find out if you've been invited to be one of the 30 people to be in the Digital Shapers. The reason why I stress this, because Digital Shapers pretty much gets started February 1st. So what we want you to, of course, be thinking about beforehand is, if I get an invitation, do I have time to do this? Do I want to do this? Because you're going to have to make a decision real quick. And there's going to be a lot of people who would be very happy to take your place if you choose not to. So just to kind of give you an idea of the timeline of the selection process. The application part we're going to talk about in a little bit, but to give you an idea of what to expect on the selection day, I'll turn it over to Quentin.
Perfect, thank you. I'll explain later on actually how you can apply and how you can actually get to the selection day. We just wanted to show you some impressions of the day itself, actually, because this is going to be like the main day where we're going to select the final group, right? So this is not going to be the typical assessment center, so don't be afraid of this. Maybe you can see it on the pictures, but we had some fun actually. So we're going to do different exercises with you. We're going to do a team exercise to just see how you fit into a group, how you can actually get along with other participants and see if we find a good mix for a finalist team. But also we're going to have a look at your different skills. So if you bring a digital business mindset, if you bring some technical skills depending on the role you apply for. So these are basically the different assessments we will do to actually see if you can make it to the finalist group and if you can really work on this challenge we're going to show you. So we are still planning the selection days. As Pam mentioned, we're going to have 3 of them, so we're pretty sure that you will find a suitable date, and we're really looking forward to this, especially because this will also be one of the first possibilities to actually get to know the partner companies, because they will all be there and you will actually have the chance to chat with them, to get to know them, and actually really have some first contact with all those partner companies, but also with other candidates. So it's a really great opportunity to get to know each other actually. Exactly. If there are no questions so far, let's just move on. And
one second, I see in the chat that there was a question to application, but I don't see the actual question in the chat. Lucia, do you happen to see / give us that question? My camera is out. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I see. I have one question here. So there was the question if actually you can apply as a team or if you should apply as an individual. So at the moment, it's only possible to apply as an individual. Of course, if you have a team or if you think that you're a group of people who could really work well on a challenge, feel free to all apply, and then maybe during the selection days, you will actually meet again and we can see if we can actually maybe mix you up in one team, right? So but the application process itself will be on an individual basis. And then I get into detail on what you will need to maybe upload or what challenge you will need to take to apply. I'll explain this later on. So if there are any questions, feel free to ask them now. I hope I will give you the answers later on. Exactly. I don't know if Pam is still there. I can see her right now.
Can you hear me? I
can hear you. Maybe you can go on the next page.
Yeah. Let's see if my
in the meantime, exactly. So this is actually, there you are again. This is actually the second step we've mentioned early on, right? So this is like the step when you are a finalist, and this is what we hope. So this is the 12-week challenge we mentioned earlier on, and actually the challenge is there to bring you from a problem, so from the challenge itself, to really a final product or prototype at the end of those 12 weeks. And we will really guide you through those weeks and actually be able to help you through 3 different, let's call it sprints. So in the first month, you will really go from the problem itself to the concept, right? So those first few weeks are really about understanding what's the challenge, what does the partner company want to solve, but also what's the customer's needs, and what's our needs to actually solve the challenge, right? And you will be able automatically to come up with some first ideas, be as crazy as you want. So there are no limits to whatever you want to do. So come up with those first ideas, and then we will actually jump into the second sprint, which is going to be in March probably. And there you're going to go from this concept you've developed to a first prototype, which is really exciting because there you're really going to develop the concept, but you're also going to be able to develop something really tangible, right? So this is going to be the first prototype, and you're going to be able to test it and to work it out in a really agile way to see, is this something we can move on with, or should we actually try to do another one? And this is actually going to be the third step, then the third sprint in April. We're going to ongoingly develop your prototype until at the end, hopefully it's really a final product, final app, final business model, whatever you choose to actually present in front of this jury. And the jury will then actually really choose the winning team, which is then really a cool moment.
So I'm going to interrupt you there for a second because I see we have some questions to take up. One of the questions is, for someone living in Vienna, is that some kind of constraint to participate? Another person asked, where will the offline weekends take place and will travel costs be covered? First of all, the beauty of being a digital shaper is that you use digitalization to work together. So no, being in Vienna is not a problem. In fact, being in California or being in Southeast Asia is not a problem. As I know some teams last year, they had people who were very, very far away. Within Europe, the travel costs are covered. I do not know what we did for that person living in Southeast Asia for the offline weekends. We might have made a deal with them where we would only pay for some of their travel costs in that sense.
Exactly, it's covered until a certain amount, so.
Yeah, so essentially we do make it financially possible for you to get there. Of course, in very exceptional conversations, that's something that we just talk about and we figure out the best solution there. I think for you, probably what's most important to kind of keep in mind is those dates at the top of that slide, and you do your darndest to get there for the offline weekends because it is really special after working online together for so much to have that time as a team, and we on our side are going to do our darndest to get you there as well. Cool. Any other questions to what Quentin has been discussing? Keep the questions coming. Cool. Then I believe I'm supposed to take over here. Yes. Here's a picture of people working remotely around the world. So specifically kind of what the question about Vienna and also travel costs, you know, a big part of this is remote work with your group and then coming together for those offline weekends, and we fully support that. And also we think that that's part of the challenge in the sense that, you know, for digital shapers, most people will not be sitting in the same office in the future, you know, so this is also a key competency, just like coding, just like developing a business model. Learning how to work in agile remote teams is also super important, and this is a fun way for you to figure out your own style in that. But like I said, it's not just the online, it's also actually at the companies as well. Last year, we had an offline weekend in Berlin, Berlin with McKinsey. We also had one in Bavaria where we visited the Airbus offices. That's a rocket, if you didn't notice that right away. That was pretty cool that, you know, you just casually go by these giant space things that they've developed, or airplanes. They have a really cool learning hub there. We also went to the Zeiss campus in Bavaria where we got to see kind of the history of what they've been developing. So that was very exciting. And of course, the focus here is for you guys to really get together, work together, and work in person, because you do work differently and sometimes more effectively, and sometimes the brainstorming takes a different direction. So we definitely want to give you that opportunity as well. And of course, for you guys to get to know us, because on one hand, you're going to be working very tightly together with your McKinsey coach and also your mentor from the company, but maybe you're interested in some of the other companies there. You're also probably very interested in the other participants there. Even though your team is great, you know, there's going to be 25 other people that you want to get to know, and that's really kind of the idea of these offline weekends. Then the final step is to show up at the finale. This will be most likely on April 17th. We're still finalizing that date along with the location as well. But this is really, you know, if you've done a case study competition before, it's very similar to probably what you've experienced there. You get your slides ready, you get jazzed, you get up on that stage and you deliver the best pitch, and then mean questions come from the audience. Just kidding, they're actually very interesting and they really appreciate your work. And you get to defend and kind of also, you know, expand on your idea there. And as any good finale, there's of course a party afterwards along with an award ceremony. Here are some pictures from last year of the presentations and the jury. As Quentin already mentioned, we're quite careful to have a jury that is well stocked with both more business executives as well as technical experts and executives, because we want to make sure that it's not just a cool toy that has no business value. But on the other hand, we don't want to hear pie in the sky solutions that sound very techy, but actually don't work at the end of the day. And that's why the jury is going to be very balanced in that sense. So hopefully we've really got you guys excited about this, and you're really interested in participating in this. I'm taking a quick look at the questions. Is this call for people from all over the world or just those of us who live in Germany? Let me put it this way. It's a German event. Everything's going to be happening in Germany, but there's a good reason why we chose to put this program in English, because we want to get great digital talent. I think a lot of the companies here are quite relevant for people who are interested in Germany, but if you're living in France, if you're living in the Netherlands, if it's interesting for you, apply. We want this to be an open competition. Also, I saw something about an age limit for the competition. Of course not. What we noticed last year was that most of the people applying and who ended up choosing to do the program were either still studying or in the first, I would say, 2 to 3 years of their professional life. Actually, one of the candidates that we wanted to offer a spot in the position, she was a little bit further along in her career. I think she had about 7 or 8 years. And she thought that the competition was really interesting, but she also felt like there was maybe some other things that were more valuable for her to do at that point in her career. Her decision, we thought she was wonderful. So in that sense, I mean, at the end of the day, we're looking for unique individuals. So we expect everyone to break at least one of the rules a little bit. And in that sense, I can only give you what kind of has been the trend in the past, if that makes you feel more comfortable in knowing if this is right for you. But if you just give it a try if you're interested in participating. Cool. So shall we start talking a little bit more about then the profiles that we're looking for?
Yes. Thank you. So basically now the biggest question, right, the most important question is, can I actually apply for this? So is this an event for me, right? So we would say yes, because we have 4 different, let's call it target groups of 4 different types of people who can actually join the event. And those 4 types will actually at the end build a team that can be successful working on this challenge, right? So we have the business visionaries. Those are the people who bring like the digital business mind to the table. We have developers, people who can code, who can actually live code and really build something you thought about. We have data scientists, so we're going to work with real data. So it's going to be really important to have some data freaks to actually work on big data sets and actually see and draw conclusions from that. And then, of course, we have this customer-centric focus, which is going to be the focus of the experience designer, just to see how can we actually put this into a customer journey-friendly product at the end. So if you feel like you fit into any of those roles, please just feel free to apply, and we're going to show you how you can actually do this. So let's start with the business visionaries. So basically, like I mentioned, these are gonna be really the people who bring some experience in a digital environment, be it maybe a startup or a digital division of a corporate. But also, if you feel like you have a digital business mind, but you don't bring this experience yet, don't shy away. Feel free to apply, because you're gonna have a few ways to actually show off what you can do in the digital environment. So it's not just going to be a CV upload, but most importantly, you will actually be doing a little writing assignment, which sounds like school or university. It's not at all like this. It's more for us to see actually how you can tackle business problems in a digital manner, right? So we want to see your motivation for becoming a digital shaper, but also your creativity in seeing new innovative digital business models. And this is what this writing assignment is going to be about. And you can count around 90 to 120 minutes to complete this assignment. And this will be the last step before actually joining then the selection day if we choose to invite you. Next will be the developer, so the coders, actually really the people who, like it's written on this page, breathe software developing, right? So you're the people that can actually really work with coding languages and use these technical skills in a business environment. So this is going to be a really important role, as without developers, coders, nothing can actually get into a real product. So this is a role we're really thinking is really important. So if you bring any technical skills and if you think that you can do this, there will also be this application process. Again, we'll need your CV, but most importantly, you will be doing a coding test on a specific platform. You will be getting a link to this platform, and you will have the chance to actually, show off your skills during this coding test. You can do at home at any place you want, as long as you have a laptop or device that you can use to code. Same goes for the data scientists. So here we're looking for people who can manage large data sets. So the application process here will also be a CV upload, of course, but also a coding test, which is really related to handling big data amounts. So here on this side, we will be looking at your skills in be it Python or R, which are like the two main coding languages for data scientists. And if you bring skills in this environment, or if you have like a really good knowledge of statistics, for example, you should be applying for this role because this might be a good fit for you. And then the last one, the experience designer, which is also going to be a really important role because you're going to be the one thinking about the customer because you're going to really focus on this. So it's going to be a really customer-centric role. And what we're looking for here is, of course, not only this customer centricity, but also your technical design skills, right? So we want actually to see how creative you can get and how you can actually put this onto a page or onto an online application to make this actually appealing for the customer, right? So the application process on this one is going to be, again, a CV upload, but most importantly, a little design challenge you can do on the platform. I can already tell you the challenge is going to be to squeeze a golf ball into a lemon. So it's pretty challenging, but we're expecting really cool results from this. So if you feel like you can do this, or if you have ever dreamt of putting a golf ball into a lemon, feel free to apply because this is going to be, we think, really your role. So we're really looking forward to meeting you on the platform. So,
cool. So I think that's it for our formal presentation. I'm going to go back up to the time frame slide, just that way for anybody who wanted to kind of note those things down. Also, that's the first time I heard about the golf and the lemon ball or the golf ball and lemon challenge. So now I'm really interested to see the results of that. I see that there's already some questions in the chat. So maybe we hop right in there. One of the I'm going to work on them kind of from the last one moving up. And what I saw is a really great question saying, will we be able to use our project in our personal portfolio, like a GitHub, or is there an NDA, and who owns the code we produce? So we own the code. So that's pretty clear in that sense. That's one of the things that you're going to be signing at the end. And it depends on the solution if you can actually use it in your personal portfolio. So for example, I told you guys a little bit about Aaron, who was awesome. And in his conversation with the CTO of BMG, one of the things that they also talked about was, can I use that in my GitHub? And so they went through it line for line just to see, hey, is there anything really private here, commercial sensitive here? And they discovered no. that's something that can go on his GitHub. So in that case, I would say that we can't say one way or another, but everyone's really proud of your results. So it's in everyone's interest that if it is possible for you to use this on your personal portfolio, we want that to happen. Nonetheless, because we do own it at the end of the day, also it's our data, or the company's data is at the end of the day, maybe some of the solutions won't be able to do that. So just full disclosure on that. Also, when we're talking about former alumni, I mentioned also Estelle before, and I realized that question about, is this open to the whole world or just for Germany? Estelle, she's the coolest person in the world. I actually knew her beforehand, so I'm a huge fan of her. She's from Cameroon. She did her university or her master's degree here in Germany, so that's kind of her connection to Germany. She also casually learned German in under 2 years. I'm here for 10 years and I'm still struggling. So meanwhile, she was also learning Chinese. So I think in that sense, it should make it pretty clear that we are not just looking for Germans. We are not just looking this on a German basis, but it is the hub because all the organizers are here. So I hope that also gives you kind of an idea. Let's take a look at some more questions.
Maybe the one.
How much time do you need to?
Yeah. How much time do you need to actually invest for the challenge, and can you handle the competition while working full time? This is a good question actually, and we can say that yes, you can handle this because we had some people working full time last year as well. So basically, you have those 12 weeks, and you as a team can decide on your own how you would like to actually manage your time during those 12 weeks, right? So most of the teams actually had maybe a weekly check-in call or something, but they didn't work on it full time every day, right? So if you're working, if you have a job besides this, it's cool that you're still working on a challenge, but be assured that you don't need to work on it every night until midnight. So this is really going to be something you can handle actually.
Yeah, Quentin, I don't know about your feeling, but my feeling last year was that the biggest challenge that the groups found was finding a time when everybody could be on the call together. It seemed like the actual workloads that each individual had was completely manageable. Maybe some people took on more because they wanted to, some people a little bit less. But man, I think we all know that finding a time to meet is always the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
I see another question, will the language of instruction be in English throughout the event? Yes. Some groups choose to work in German. That's kind of their decision, or other languages. I wasn't aware of it at that time, but obviously when you're in a small group, you make decisions on a small group level, but every formal communication in Digital Shapers will be conducted in English, unless I'm saying something wrong, Quentin.
No, everything's right.
Cool.
Then again, do we get an email to everyone invited to participate, or on what website can we see it? That's a good question as well. So we have to see that you'd like to apply, apparently. So yeah, if I understand this correctly, Lucia is going to send you a kind of a follow-up email after this webinar, and in this email you're going to have the contact email of the Digital Shapers team, but also the website, which is digital-shapers.com. So really easy. And then on this page, you can actually scroll down and find the apply button, and all the instructions are written down there again. So feel free to check out the website so you can see how to get there.
I also saw a question on the chat that I almost passed by. Are also people who are in undergraduate programs and bachelor programs allowed to apply? Absolutely. Also, if you've never studied at a formal university, we also don't care. We want to know about your skills. We want to know about what you bring to the table. And while we totally value a good old-fashioned university degree, we know that there's a lot of other ways to gain these skills and experiences. For you, it's about communicating that to us about how you still are able to bring those skills there. But in that sense, absolutely undergraduates and also alternative education. Do we get any other questions? I'm going to, while we're waiting for the last questions, I'm also going to just change the page really quick to this slide again, in case anybody needed to mark down those dates to see if that theoretically could work in their calendar. because then I think you have all the main dates that you need to be keeping your eye on. If there's no other questions, Lucy, if you'd like to take the stage back. Thank you guys so much for your attention and for your questions. Yeah. Oh, I can't hear Lucia.
Jetzt? Okay, sorry. Genau, also wenn es jetzt keine weiteren Fragen mehr gibt, sind wir jetzt schon auch am Ende des Webinars angekommen. Ich schicke ja im Nachgang nochmal eine Follow-up-Mail, da ist dann auch nochmal eine Kontaktadresse, an die ihr euch sonst noch wenden könnt, wenn doch noch im Nachgang irgendwelche Fragen aufgekommen sind. Die werde ich euch dann morgen früh zuschicken und da ist dann auch der Link zur Bewerbung dabei. Jetzt gleich im Anschluss kommt ein kleines Fenster, ploppt dann auf, wo eine kurze Umfrage zum Webinar direkt aufpoppt und da wäre es super, wenn ihr einfach mal ganz kurz ein paar Fragen beantwortet. Es dauert auch nicht länger als 1 Minute und genau, dass wir auch wissen, was wir vielleicht beim nächsten Mal noch ein bisschen besser machen können. Genau, dann vielen, vielen lieben Dank an Pam und Quentin, die das super gut gemacht haben. Wir kriegen ja auch hier im Chat gerade sehr positives Feedback, das freut uns natürlich. Genau, und ja, bei weiteren Fragen, wie gesagt, einfach dann noch schreiben und auch euch vielen Dank für eure Aufmerksamkeit, für die vielen guten Fragen, die bestimmt auch die anderen interessiert haben. Und ja, dann einen schönen Abend und dann beende ich das Webinar. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Ciao.
Bye, bye.